Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Elizabeth A. Horseshoe. I am the founder and CEO of Nurse Exec Innovations, a career coaching and consulting brand designed specifically for nurses and healthcare organizations. I am also the curator of the platform titled Pass the Mic. Some of you are probably saying, what is Pass the Mic? Who is Pass the Mic? Well, Pass the Mic is a platform established for visionaries, advocates, and game changers in the arenas of healthcare, business, technology, culture, and so much more. Tonight, I am so excited to have this conversation, this real talk, candid conversation in this time of 2021. It's not 1920s, it's not 1960s. It is 2021 that we are about to have this real, live, candid conversation about culture, spirituality, and health. So at my top right, I have Dr. Margarita David. She is the founder and the CEO of Dr. Registered Nurse Success Academy. She is a game changer in her area of expertise. And at the middle of my screen, I have Dr. Rodriguez. Ooh, look at that, Freudian slip, soon to be Dr. Rodriguez. Dr. Daisy Rodriguez will be confirmed her doctoral degree, we just learned behind the scenes, on October 21st, 2021. I'm seeing a theme, October 21st, 2021. So Dr. David has some amazing, she's always doing amazing things. And one of the amazing things she has coming up, she has Radical Woman, which is the international best-selling book anthology. If you'd care to jump in and share with the audience what that book is about, Dr. David.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. So Radical Woman is an anthology that takes women's struggles and helps you understand how those struggles can be an energy source for success. So it's not about talking about the issues that we went through. You get a little glimpse of that, but in reality, it's more about how you can turn that around and make it positive. So it's an amazing book. It's 15 of us that decided to share a little bit about our lives and how we took those struggles and change basically our path. So I'm super excited about it. It comes out May 9th, Mother's Day, so it's easy to remember.
Awesome. And I think there was a few other things you told me that you were also, if you could just elaborate on what you do, what's your area expertise?
Yes.
There's a little bit of a echo. Can someone maybe mute, or my technology mentor is telling me that there's a echo. Do you have an echo on your end? No?
Yeah. There's not an echo on my end. I'm good over here.
Okay. All right. I'm good to go. All right. Go ahead.
So I am also the founder and CEO of Dr. Registered Nurse Success Academy, which is an online forum that helps doctoral students through their entire journey from beginning to end. I have actually clients that get me before they even start. I also tutor nursing students, do NCLEX prep, and have a YouTube channel under the same name, Dr. Registered Nurse, that has been super successful. It's been out there for a little bit over a year. And I'm also very involved in diversity and leadership, and in talking about ways that we can be better individuals in terms of us being diverse individuals in a microaggressive environment. So those are one of three things that I'm super passionate about.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And Daisy Rodriguez, if you can kind of give us some brief brevity, because we want to jump right into the interview. So if you can just share with the audience a little bit about yourself.
I am a doctoral student, so hearing that Dr. David mentor students, she'll be hearing from me after this conference. And thank you for lighting the light for us. I appreciate that, truly. I have a nonprofit. I am an Afro-Latina, and I started a nonprofit dedicated for individuals to find their voice. I found in my life my voice was being muffled through microaggressions. And as I started finding my voice, I realized that as I'm making it up, using my voice corrected in a correct format, not being hostile, but using my education and my grace and my loving ways, I was making an impact. So I was like, okay, I want to teach others how to do this. This is now have become my passion, that your truth matters. But how are we going to framework your truth to create a new narrative for your life so you can live the best life possible? And I also have divinely connected as a registered nurse and being a labor and delivery nurse since I started as a dental assistant. So being in healthcare since 1988, I realized there was a gap. So I got into Reiki and different alternative medicines to complement Western medicine. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So my first question is going to go to Dr. David. And oh, by the way, besides having some cultural flavor on this live today, we have two Afro-Latinas. Dr. David is representing from Dominican Republic, which is the other side of Haiti. And then we have Daisy Rodriguez, who's representing for Puerto Rico. And you have Elizabeth Corshu representing for Island Haiti and Sierra Leone, West Africa. And by the way, I also realized you two are from New York, right? I think Dr. David is from the Bronx.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And then Daisy, what was it, the Bronx or East or Harlem?
Queens.
Huh? Queens. Okay, all right. And then you got Bronx, Brooklyn, and Queens up in here. Okay, cool. I just wanted to highlight that. So jumping right in. So Dr. David, when or how did you get inspired to go into nursing? Because I do know, I did read a little bit about your history. You didn't initially go into nursing coming out of high school. So if you could just share with the audience how that journey looked like for you.
Yes. So I went to City College of New York, and I went for business management and administration and a minor in economics. So I graduated with that degree, and I worked in finance for about 3 to 5 years, like 5 years. And I got bored. I got super bored. I was doing the same thing. I was tired. I didn't love it. So I started looking at other ways that I could make a difference that would be more fulfilling for myself. And I started researching, and then I always said I wanted to get into medicine somehow. And then that's when all those accelerated programs were coming out. And I said, oh my God, this is my opportunity. So I did my prereqs, got into Drexel University's 11-month BSN. It was the hardest year of my life. Yes, Dominican Republic. It was the hardest year of my life. It gives me anxiety thinking about it, but I got it done. And in 11 months, I was done. And that's when everything started for me in healthcare, because I never pictured myself being a nurse. Although there were things that happened throughout my life that I said, maybe this is where I need to be. So it kind of worked out really well in my favor. So I'm grateful for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So Daisy, if you can share with the same question, when did you recall the moment that you decided to pursue the profession of nursing?
I was a nurse I became a nurse in 1992, and it was during the AIDS epidemic. So I was there in the emergency room at Queens Hospital Center where AIDS and crack hit, and it hit really hard. That there was just no beds. We had patients lined up in the ramp for the emergency room. So I had multiple deaths a day, and I was very young. And as I was a nurse, and I kept getting different certifications like EKG technician, phlebotomy, things like that. When I moved to New Jersey, Janice Malvev from Meadowlands. When I was applying, she said, "You have all these certifications. Why don't you become a registered nurse?" I remember saying to her, "I'm not smart enough to become a registered nurse." I didn't
Was
have
that
a
imposter
reflection.
syndrome?
Yeah,
That
I
was
didn't have a
imposter syndrome?
reflection. Yeah, back at me to say a Latina, an Afro Latina could be a registered nurse. So I only saw me in the role of as nurse's
Mm,
aide. So when she said that, I was like, "Me?" And she was
okay.
like, "Absolutely." So that is when I
Wow.
went to Hudson Community College and started with my associates, and then I progressed on my journey to become a registered nurse.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Wow. Woo. Girl, you just took me back. I grew up in Elizabeth, New Jersey. I don't know if you're familiar with Elizabeth, but I have a colleague who's from Elizabeth, Dominican. I went to school with a lot of Afro Latinas, some who were my complexion or darker, and really did not see themselves as Afro Latina. So we're going to get a little bit more into that later, but I'm going to ask you about your cultural heritage growing up, Dr. David. Do you recall any particular traditions that it was like a must into you did as a child into your adulthood years? Like, let me give you an example. So in the Haitian culture, every year, January 1st, Independence, we drink, we make, and we get all the ingredients for soup. Soup jumu. Soup jumu is supposed to be the best soup. Bon Appetit tried to do a replay of our soup, and it was like a no go, negative. So funny thing, this past year, 2020, I go to the supermarket. I'm like, I gotta make this soup jumu. Well, last year COVID and so many crazy things happened in 2020. Do you know one night before New Year's Day, there was no squash left in the supermarket? I was starting to have, Daisy, I know you can relate. I was starting to have anxiety. Like, no, I got to make this soup. I got to make this soup. Like, I'm going to have a bad year if I don't make this soup. Right. So I was calling up my girlfriends, and I should have known something was wrong when this lady had like 6 frozen bags of the squash in her carriage. I was like, nobody does that. We cut up the squash and we blend it, and honey, I made those people go to the back and look for some squash. So what is a tradition that that your mom or your grandmom or grandpa, whoever, said you have to do? Because what I want people that are watching this live tonight to realize is that there's many levels to people, and culture is so important, and
Yes.
especially when you connect that with health. So if you can share with us what was some childhood traditions that you grew up with and that you still pass on in your adulthood, even to your children.
So on New Year's, well, right before, just similar to you, but in our case would be the grapes. So you have to eat, I guess it's 12 grapes as fast as possible within that first minute, getting into the New Year's. Um, and you have to do that. Some people also do the luggage thing that they go out, but we do the grapes. And guess what? A year or two, I couldn't eat the 12 grapes. So, you start thinking like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I only was able to eat 9 during the time. So it kind of, these traditions are fun and stuff. But if you think about it, it kind of does affect you mentally, because just like you're like, oh my God, I'm going to have a bad year. You think the same exact way. So we do.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And Daisy, same thing for you. Is there any particular culture or traditions that you were exposed to growing up? And is there anything that you still carry on, or did you find, kind of alter along the way? If you could share,
Well,
Daisy.
there's two things. One is like during the Lent season, right? As we know, there's no meat on Fridays, and but my
Okay.
family would take it to the extreme. And then once it was like we're getting to from Palm Sunday all the way to Easter, there was no meat also. So we got like the double whammy, and they didn't care what the Pope said that you could have corned beef because it fell on St. Patrick's Day. Like, I do meal. No, we're not doing that. So there was like no meat, and we would have
Uh-huh.
sancocho on New Year's Eve, something warm in your stomach.
What's
And
what
lastly was
what's
if you
that?
spend New Year's
I'm sorry.
sancocho is like your bouillon that you make in Haiti, where it has the root
Oh,
vegetables.
the soup. Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then
Okay.
the other thing is that if you're walking the streets on New Year's Eve and you bring in the bells and ring the bells on New Year's Eve in the street, you'll be wandering the streets all year. So make sure you're where you want to
Oh.
be when the bells come in. Like I even got goosebumps right now. So I'm always like, I'm secure with the bells.
God, and someone just put on the live Morir
That was
Soñando. I love that.
Oh my God, Morir Soñando is so good. Yes, that's
That's
another thing.
basically made with milk and orange juice and carnation milk. I also put vanilla extract in it. It is
Hmm.
so yummy, and it's just delicious. In English, it translates to die. What is it? Die sleeping. So I know it kind of, the name in English is a little messed up, but in Spanish it sounds good.
Yeah, die dreaming. Die dreaming. Die dreaming.
Die
die
Morir
dreaming.
Soñando. Die dreaming.
And, and what is the significance of that? Drinking that.
I
Is
really
there any
don't even
significance?
know, honestly. Like it's just a drink that we do, and like I could say,
Mm.
it's kind of like pina colada, but not with the pineapple. But it's just one of those
Okay.
drinks that you just drink and you just do it.
Okay. So thank you for sharing those two wonderful traditions that both of your families you typically would do. So now put yourself in the healthcare arena and you're about to administer a medication. I know all of us have been, at one point has been there where uh, a particular patient has said, I cannot do X, Y, and Z because. How do you, as a healthcare practitioner and a professional, maintain the integrity of your patient's tradition as well as honoring their wish? What would you do? I know that's not one of my questions I had given you but I like to kind of jump right in and ask. Any thoughts? But take that try
I
answering
I
that.
have had that issue a lot actually because where I live is not a very diverse place right now, but where I work is. So with diversity comes, culture,
Okay.
beliefs, and religions. So I've had that happen with a lot of patients
Mm-hmm.
where, they don't feel comfortable taking a certain medication or speaking with a male nurse or a male CNA, or even sometimes I've had the other way around too, but it all comes down to respect and explaining because patients a lot of times say no to things and it's because they really don't know any better. You don't know what you don't know. And I use this a lot when I'm dealing with my
Yes.
clinical students. Like you just have to have a conversation
Yes.
so they can understand the reasoning. And if even with that conversation and that education piece, they still, then you have to respect it because you can't really
Mm-hmm.
force anyone. I wouldn't want to be forced to do something that I didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
You have to respect, and that goes for religion and also goes for the herbal remedies. Like we may say, let's give you this medication. They say, no, I'd rather take garlic. But what would you do about that? Ultimately, they know what
Mm.
they may take the medication home, but they might not, they throw it out and just do their garlic. So you have to kind of be respectful as long as you can.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Thank you so much. Daisy, I know in the OB world, I mean, I only really did OB through my nursing school days, right? I really worked in that specialty area. But there are so many opportunities for education with your students as well as with the doctors and colleagues, right? I remember there's I believe it was within the Indian culture, they're very big on when they first give birth, they cannot have anything cold. And I was like, wow, I wanting to just administer. I got, pulled there for mother baby. It was postpartum, but I was like, wow, I just want to give my medication. But I had to sit back and say, no, this is what I do. Let me go back, warm up the water, blah, blah, blah. So any experiences in your specialty area, or did you ever have a teaching moment with one of your students in the OB,
Well,
maternal child, and OB stands for obstetrics.
well,
Those that
I'm
are
a
giving
certi-
babies. I haven't.
mhm.
Go
Well, I'm
ahead.
a certified faith community nurse, meaning I do community nursing based in faith. So I've worked in different churches for the last 6 to 7 years in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So I have
Okay.
tapped into a mastery of dealing with different faiths and the religious and spiritual needs of my clients, because they're not my patients, because we're in the community. And I believe like
Hmm.
one of the most teachable moments I had with the community was, though we're Hispanics, we have different belief system within our culture. So you could be Puerto Rican and you
Yeah.
could have a certain belief system, especially like you're Nuyorican, you're very
Yeah.
traditional Nuyorican. But if you're like from Colombia or Chile, you don't have anything cold. You don't walk outside barefooted because the uterus is going to fall out. No sex. There was like all these
Hmm.
other traditional things that happen within the Hispanic sector that I think is
Yes.
um, individuals don't understand. Like Dr. Davida's uh, Dominican, I'm Puerto Rican, though we're very close culturally, there's a lot of things that separate us, even in our dialect. So I was able to get a good grip on that. And I use that in OB with my clinical students when we're on the unit and they're like, they're Spanish. It's like, no, 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 no. What country are they from? Because it does matter.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's a really
Exactly.
good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point because a lot of times people tend to generalize us as Hispanics, like all Hispanics are the
Hmm.
same, and they are not. Like you said, Dominicans have a lot of different views and beliefs than Puerto Ricans do,
Yes,
and Mexicans and Venezuelans. So it's tough to be in an environment where everybody generalizes all patients that are Hispanic as all believing in the same things, and we don't.
exactly. And it's not, and
Yeah.
I like that viewpoint because a lot of people think that Dominicans and Puerto Ricans have a thing against each other, and we don't. It's because they see us on the map being close together. They think we're cousins, and it's like that's not true. It's like comparing France and Spain. They're both in Europe, but Mija, that we're not the same. We are similar. We're cousins. We're beautiful cousins, but we all have our
Yes.
belief system that
Yes.
needs to be
And I'm
honored. Hopefully,
And I'm glad you pointed that out, Daisy. Thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. David, for interjecting and sharing that viewpoint. Very good point. For a long time, I keep hearing different people saying, oh, Dominicans dislike Haitians, Haitians dislike Dominican. Well, sweetheart, you know, I'm here to dispel that myth, okay? Because, you know, even here in the United States, there are people that black people don't, there's some white people who don't like black people don't like white people. I mean, you know, it is what it is. But as you can see, this is where the collaboration happens. This is where creative minds get together and have wonderful discussions. So I'm going to ask you in regards to implicit bias, and if you can think about what experience you may have had with implicit bias. I'll give you an example. For example, all my life, almost sound like Oprah. All my life, I had to fight. All my life, growing up as a child, a young black female, born to immigrants from Haiti and Sierra Leone, West Africa, with the first name Elizabeth. The first thing I'm told is that, oh, you're a, what's the word? You are a contribute. You are a benefit to your culture. And I just kind of look and I'm like, are you, and you gotta understand, I was real sassy. I had to, like we mentioned behind the scenes earlier, Daisy, you said you had to learn how to channel your energy. And I'm like, that's not a compliment, you know, but so with implicit bias, have you had an experience? I see you laughing real hard, Daisy, so I'm going to go with you first. What implicit bias can you just share with the audience? Because I want people to know. Oh, Glass just shared. He said some people are just dope. I'm gonna share that
we
comment.
are.
Yes, Glass. That's my shout out to Glass Bar. Oh gosh.
Uh,
Okay, there it goes. Anyway, so I see you smiling really hard. Do you have an example
I
with
have many, but I
implicit
share
bias
one. I
that
have
you? See,
many, but I'm going to
I
share one.
want people. I want people. Okay, okay, yeah. I need you. You know, we
I'm
have
going to share
multiple
one.
questions, but I need you to pick I need you to pick one that's gonna be like, bow, knock these people off their chair. I want people to walk away from this educated and like check themselves, like, oh, I'll never do that again. That's what Pastor Mike is about. So I want you to be like, bow. Okay? That's what I want you to do.
Okay, so you know me already. So I was a brand new nursing student. Now let's rewind. Remember, I thought I wasn't smart enough, and I had a speech impediment, and no one looked like me in the culture, right? So here I am, a brand new registered nurse on a labor and delivery unit, and there's no one
Okay.
that looks like me on there, right? So I'm sitting there having my break. Now I'm trying to figure out like this, that, just, oh my God, I'm a new nurse. No. And in comes the manager that was out on maternity leave and says to me, when you're done eating, can you please empty out the trash in room 13? And I said,
What?
sure. Right after I finished giving my patients their medication, I'm Daisy, your new nurse that you hired. And her mouth dropped. And that was day one. And it's been like that for 20 years in my profession, where I walk in a room and I am like, I am the nurse. I am the collegiate professor. I am Professor Rodriguez. So
Yes.
it does not make me emotional no more, but when it happened, I remember leaving there saying I knew I wasn't good enough and I had to build myself up. And that's when I see other individuals that look like me going the distance, I'm like, thank you, because we need that light at the end of the tunnel to know that we can make it and we matter.
Yes. Can you say that again for those that are watching? Somebody who's probably feeling the way you felt. You said that last statement. Can you repeat it? I love it.
That we can make it and that you matter. You matter and you are smart enough. You're brilliant enough. We need you at the bedside. We need your brilliance. We need the charisma you bring, and we need that tender loving care you can bring, not because you're a Latina, because you're a human being and you have value. So when you feel like you're not enough, just look at one of the three of us right here on the panel. We are a reflection of you, and you can do it.
Yes. Thank you so much. Oh, I give you an A+. Thank you. Now, Dr. David, if you could share with us one of your experiences with implicit bias.
So I've gone through the ringer a little, just like Daisy. But one of the things that I noticed is that when you get to a certain level, for example, or as soon as I got my doctorate, that's the ultimate education point. And one of the things that I notice is that some people will try to demean your growth or belittle your position in terms of education by calling you out of your name. And this is what I mean by that. And it's not specifically, a curse word or anything. So when I am in a professional environment, I introduce myself as Dr. David, right? However, you will have people that will say, hey, Margarita, I never introduced you. I never introduced myself to you as Margarita. I know who I introduced myself to as Margarita, and I know who I introduced myself to as Dr. David. So I started saying that. And that is one way that people that are not comfortable with your progress, because maybe you look different, you are not, what they expect you to be. You are not, the high school dropout, maybe got an associate's degree and decided not to go on any further and just maybe be home or do. They expect when they see you, when they see how you look, like if I go in with braids anywhere, they go, oh my God, that she must not, she must be home. She must be unemployed. They already judge you by how you look They're already intimidated by what you say. So what can they do? They can call you out of your name instead of calling you what you so hardly earned. So that happened to me 2 years ago in a professional meeting, and I let the person speak. I let them, and then I asked them, how did I introduce myself to you when I met you 2 weeks before that? And they were like, oh. And then she said, Dr. David, and I said, exactly. So you don't call me Margarita. You don't have the luxury of doing that because that's a luxury. If I introduce myself to you as Margarita, that means I know you. That means I feel comfortable with you. That means that you treat me with respect. But if I introduce myself to you as Dr. David, that means I don't know you. I don't respect you yet. And I need to get to know your vibe. So I corrected her, and she did that for 2 weeks. So and there's a point there. If you let behaviors continue, behaviors will continue. And that's when you're going to be seen as, oh my gosh, she's very mouthy. Oh, why she's just an attitude, or the angry Black woman or the angry Hispanic. It's not. It comes to a point where if you let people do these microaggressive actions, it's going to be like second nature, and then you're not even going to be able to recognize it to fix it.
Yes, yes. And I love that. Thank you for sharing. Same thing with me. My name is Elizabeth. I introduce myself as Elizabeth. And I've had in certain work settings where they cut it down to Liz. And anybody, Daisy will tell you, my Angela Bassett eyebrows are up, like my eyebrows arch. And I was like, I said, Liz is reserved for friends and family. Are you part of the friends and family? And they're like, oh, so yes, Elizabeth for you. So Daisy, microaggression, can you just share with the audience? You wanted to interject?
I want
to
tag team. I'm like double dutch. Let me in. So
go ahead.
So I'll tell you, this is something I do with my nursing students. So I sit in the classroom. I'll get there, when they're getting there, and I'll sit in there. And it's funny because I'm 48, right? But amongst them, I look like one of them, right? So I'm sitting there, and they're like, oh, whatever. So when I go in the room, in front of the room, and you'll have the male nursing students like, oh, check her out, whatever. And I write down everything. Daisy Rodriguez, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, P, comma, right? And I say, you see all that? I am Professor Rodriguez. If you call me Daisy, I'm writing you up. Because you see all of this, I earned all these letters. It took me time.
Yes.
So I'm going to teach you how to respect yourself.
Can you say that part again?
That it took
I'm
me
sorry.
all
Can you just say that part again? It took you time. It took you time
that it took me to earn this. So I respect me so you can respect you. Because remember now I'm in the position to be a reflection. So I am going to be what I didn't have. There was no Dr. David when I was growing up. So now I am Rodriguez to show them I may be Puerto Rican, Latina, dark skin, but I'm not your homegirl from the block. I am Professor Rodriguez here to profess my knowledge onto you. And you signed up for an education. And I'm going to make sure you get every bang for the buck that you put in and then some. Now, if you call me Daisy, when it comes to your letter, a recommendation, you keep doing that, you're not going to get from me. You already showed me you have no respect. And if you keep doing that, not only I'm going to write you up, and if the school lets it slide, I'm not going to leave you alone in the delivery. That gets some, because I can't trust you. Because if I can't trust you to respect me, how am I going to trust that you're going to respect my patients? So it all comes down to that integrity. And when I'm working, they don't call me Daisy. There'll be a colleague here and there that, like Dr. W said, I allowed it. But on the unit, I am Nurse Rodriguez. When I'm with my friend, is Daisy. Now, my special friends could call me Flower. But and it's important that people identify boundaries for themselves, because not everyone gets to get close to my heart. Absolutely. But you get access to my knowledge.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. So I think I was asking you the question about microaggression, Dr. David. Did you share with me the microaggression? Or that was fast to Daisy.
No, Daisy was talking about it. I
Yes,
did.
that's a form of it.
Yeah, I
Right,
can.
Okay,
disrespect
okay,
domain is microaggression. When they disrespect you and
okay.
your title, like Dr. Davi, that's a form of microaggression because they're not. You wouldn't call a cop Joe when they're arresting you. You'd be like, "I got arrested by Officer so and so. Officer Gonzalez arrested me. I got the summons, right?" Dr.
Mhm,
Miller
mhm,
wrote this
mhm,
prescription for
mhm.
my purpose. Can I have a thing? Then I sing Bobby, and so why is it that you cannot recognize me in my title that I hold?
And
Yes, yes. No,
you know what
I was just
upsets me?
clarifying. Go ahead.
When they call me
Go
Maggie,
ahead.
when they call me Maggie or Peggy,
Mm,
the worst is Margaret. Oh my God. When somebody calls me Margaret, and my husband makes fun of me a lot because he loves to, when he wants to push my buttons, he says, "Hey, Maggie, that is not my name. That is not
mhm,
my name."
mhm.
So and that's a form of my, even when they say, "Oh, wow, your hair," or "Oh my gosh, you speak English very well." What are you trying to tell me? Are you trying to tell me that I have some type of,
Mm,
like, I don't know English? So those are all little things that some regular person would say, "Oh, she's complimenting me." But it's not a
yes.
compliment. "Oh, wow, you got a
No.
doctorate
No,
while you
it's not.
couldn't do it." So it's all things that we are so used to hearing now that a lot of people don't even realize that is not a compliment. It's actually something against themselves. So, it's actually sad
Yes.
that I'm so used to that.
Ye No, it is, and it even to the point where it wasn't until later on I realized, oh, the word is microaggression, but I kind of, and I believe the three of us are very strong women, alpha female type women that are able to, you know, cut it in its tracks and say, hey, you're not going to call me that. Like I know many a times I've had people say, oh, what type of name is Horseshoe? And I would respond, it's from the continent of Africa. And they're like shocked that I give them that response. But you have to kind of think about what does your commentary do to the receiver? I always say that words are like currency. They can build a person up or they can tear a person down. And I'm not here for anybody tearing me down. My mother or father didn't tear me down. You definitely are not tearing me down. So I'm going to ask in regards to spirituality, religion. Some people will say I'm more spiritual than religious, more religious than spiritual. Where do you lie in regards to when it comes to your core values in regards to spirituality or in your family life? Who would like to rate Daisy? Professor Rodriguez, what would you like to? Would you
You
like
can
to
call
jump
me
in?
David. You have my full permission, Flora,
Can
to
I call
call
you?
me
Can I
David.
call you Flower Child?
You can
I
call me
love
Flower
flower. That's
too.
that's new. I didn't even know. I didn't even know that one. Okay, what type of
You
flower?
and Dr. Davi may
Is
call
there
me
a
Flower
particular
when we
flower?
have brunch together to discuss how we're going to better the
Okay,
world through
okay.
our excellence. Um,
At
for
at
me,
the rooftop. Go ahead. Go
spirituality,
ahead.
thank you. Spirituality is something that I love because religion for me, and this happened, like I said, when I became a faith community nurse, learning different houses of religion to service the community.
Mhm.
Um, I love
Mhm.
spirituality because it allows me to flow
Okay.
between different houses of religion where I'm not confined to a dogma.
Yes.
And in that, I will tell you the
Mm.
commonality in everyone: love. Everyone wants to feel like they matter and that they're doing something for the higher good. So no matter who or what they're worshiping, the deep down essence of it is love. Now, the way they may go about it,
Mm.
that's something else. But really, they want that, they feel it and they want to express it. And they use their
Mhm.
rituals to express that. So when you look at them and you see light, that they're a light and I'm a light, religion, color, all that creed does not matter. even if they are someone that's a felon or something like that, there's still a spark of light in them. The breath of life is within them. So when I deal with spirituality, that's what I'm tapping into. And even when I talk to my clients and we're engaging, I'm not so much interested in the story. I'm interested in more like, what is
Mm,
your light revealing to me? What is your breath of life saying to me? Because I could read and smell a lot from your
yeah,
breath, the way you're inhaling and exhaling. That's spirituality.
yeah.
Spirituality is a relationship between the mind, body, and your
Hmm.
soul that makes up the essence of everything.
Yes.
Religion is looking outward, and spirituality says, I'm within, I'm enough. And
Yes.
I think as a
Yes.
society, we look so much outward for validation when we just have it right here. We have it. And
Hmm.
the rest of the stuff is just a reflection. You
Yes.
know, I could go
Wow. I
on.
love it.
Here's my platform. Like, I could go on and I won't, but I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah. That would be, yes, no, that would be like 2.0. It's the next time for coming back on and pass the mic. But Dr. David, is there any spirituality or religion? Was it a core value in your family life or current day-to-day practice?
So, and if you hear background music, my husband all of a sudden decided to put radio on downstairs. Anyways, um, so yes, so I don't consider myself a religious person, but I'm a very spiritual person. I grew up in the Catholic
Hmm.
Church. I did, the whole communion, all the steps, everything. I got married in a Catholic church. However, I must say that although I pray every day, I believe in I everything I do, I'm like, okay, am I going to get punished for? I'm not going to do it. However, I must say that
Mm,
I realized that I was more spiritual is when I went to be a guest speaker at a Baptist church. And I sat there as a
hmm. Hmm.
guest and and I was just listening to what they had to say. I was feeling the vibe and the energy in the room. And I just started in
Yes.
tears. I was just in tears and in tears. And I just didn't know why I was just this emotional. I was like, oh my God, it really hit me. And I've never felt that
Yes.
in the Catholic Church, and I said, "There's something different here," and it's all about energy. It's all about vibe, and I mean, it was. I've never felt that, and I always think of that when I try to go back to the church setting and I have, but then I don't feel like that, and I'm like, what is the difference here? So it has
Yes.
to be something more internal, more spiritual. So yeah, I
Yes.
consider myself very spiritual. I do believe in God. I do walk the line. I do what I'm supposed to do. I mean, I'm not perfect. We make mistakes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
have to be in a place to say, okay, I'm religious or anything. It's more of a belief with me and how I carry myself every day and my spirituality that guides me. So and everything I do is for that. Everything.
Yes, thank you, both Daisy and Dr. David for sharing that. And, I too also grew up in the Catholic faith and went through all the steps. However, just like you, I would I would sit in church, and people always joke and say, "Oh, Catholic service is the shortest service," but I would leave out of the I would leave out of the church feeling like my father would always say. He says in the Baptist church, and I'm not bigging up the Baptist church or Catholic, but I'm just making reference. He would always say, when you leave the Baptist church, it's like you're ready to prepare for war, battle for the next 7 days. Like they prepare you, like you have all this energy, this, and things like that. So I say the same. I would say that as I've older, I'm very much spiritual. Same thing, believe in God, but I also believe a lot in what you put out in the universe is what's going to come back to you in the universe as well. So, I know Daisy, you do a lot of talking about energy and things like that. That would be another, great conversation for Pass the Mic. But I really want to tap into both of you because you are, I would, if I may, give you the title for right here, Pass the Mic, culture creative. You're culture creatives in the healthcare space. And what I mean by that, both of you come with your unique individual culture and traditions. And what advice would you tell any junior nurses or any young girl or young man that is looking to pursue the profession of nursing, but like you had mentioned earlier, that they just didn't see themselves in the media. They didn't see themselves, on the billboards. They didn't see themselves on anything, on any advertisement in Facebook. So what would you share as far as culture creatives in the healthcare space? What advice would you give to junior nurses about the Latin cultural backgrounds and those that are overseas that wants to be a nurse? What would you give it? What kind of advice would you give? Like, if you can really tap into something uniquely different, maybe both of you have the same answer. I don't know, but who would like to jump in? What would be your advice to a junior nurse?
One of the things that helped guide me is not listening to anybody. I mean, do words hurt? Yes.
Mm,
There's going to be a lot of times where people are going to say things that you're like, wow, just like Professor Rodriguez said, or Daisy said. She said I could call her Daisy. That's why I'm calling her Daisy. That, you kind of like throw yourself back and say, is this for me? Maybe it's not. You start doubting yourself.
mm-hmm,
But in reality, you need to take
mm-hmm,
that as energy and gas and fuel to be able to keep moving, because I see that as a challenge.
mm-hmm,
Okay. And I keep talking about, when I just got the doctorate, how I saw people change and they think, oh, wow, she probably thinks now that she's better than everybody. No, I'm not. I did that for myself, just like you can, and everyone
mm-hmm,
else in this room can.
mm-hmm,
But do you have the people that talk to you wrongly, that try to make you feel some sort of way as an energy power to keep going? Probably not. So I use that as fuel for my
mm-hmm,
progress. Did you have people saying, no, you can't do it? Probably not. But I took that as
mm,
I'm going to prove them wrong. So that is the difference.
mm-hmm,
Like, a lot of people don't understand that for us, African American, Hispanic, anything that's other, considered other, we face so many
mm-hmm,
struggles,
mm-hmm,
so many adversities, that we actually use it as a challenge to prove that, yes, we can be
mm,
successful, we can progress, we can do good and better things, and we will intimidate you with the knowledge and power we have. But because you haven't gone through those struggles and those adversities, you would not understand that like stimulation that I said, I have to finish this. I had a lot of challenges
mm-hmm,
that maybe my counterpart did
mm-hmm,
not have that challenge. And they were like, oh, I'm just going to stay doing what
mm-hmm,
I'm doing. I'm not going to do any more. But to me, that's not fulfilling. So
mm-hmm.
wherever I had an adversity, I used it in my favor. And again, others might not have had those issues. And that's why they stayed stagnant. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. And Daisy, same question for you. What advice would you give to junior nurses, those that are here in the United States or overseas looking outward in, wants to become a nurse
Um,
in the
this
Latina
is
community? Latino. Go ahead.
this is why I have shared, because again, I think like Dr. Davi, they see us like I purposely have bamboo earrings on for a reason, like what I mean, like they see us a certain way, so they feel a certain level of titi when they see us, and it's just like, and I'll say to them, listen, and I tell them the first day of class, I know you're all here, especially because they're more advanced when I get them, and now I'm doing fundamentals somewhere else. I've heard all the stories, and I've been through everything. I have been this, and I named the list. And I
Okay.
said, I did all that, and I'm here. And I don't want to go through the list because it's personal, because I share with my students, and their mouths drop. I said, I've been this, that, this. I'm not your homegirl. I'm not your titi. I'm not yo. This is what's due. This is what I'm going to hold you to the level of excellence that you can do, and I'm going to push you a little bit more, because I need you to be able to take care of me in 10 years from now. I need you. And when I tell them I need them, the light bulb goes off. And even now when I'm saying it, thousands of nursing students that I say to them, I need them, that I know the day that I ever walk in a hospital was one of my students, they're going to give me the best care because they've given all their patients the best care, because we're a reflection of each other.
Yes.
And that's why I tell them you need to drop the story at the door. It doesn't serve you here, because the patient in room 1 doesn't care about what happened in room 3. They don't. It's about that patient. So I teach them how to be mindful and centered, and not to let go of their ego and their narcissism, and to be present, because to be a registered nurse is a privilege. To be in a place with someone when they're giving birth and when they're dying, it's a privilege. And all the knowledge you have is necessary to give the best ethical care possible. And I'm going to make sure that you give that. And when I'm done with them, they want to succeed, because they want to know what it's like to be able to take care of me in 10 years from now.
Yes. Wow. Both of you have dropped some amazing gems, and I'm wrapping up to the final question at the top of the hour now. So if Dr. David, what do you hope to see improve in the Latino, Latina, Latinx? What do you prefer? Because I've seen all different variations: Latina, Latino, Latinx.
Latina. I'm still trying to understand what Latinx is. I'm go straight up with the regular Latina. That's all I am, because I'm not trying to say I'm something and I don't even know what it is.
Yeah. So I just wanted to be cautious with that. So what would you like to see improve among the Latino patients, professionals, professors, etc., in the healthcare industry? What would you like to see improve?
I think that it would be so beneficial for Latin students, Hispanic students, other students, right, than the common race, and our professors, to give the motivation. I mean, now it's come to a point where I see professors just teaching to teach. That's their job. They have to just do that, and it is what it is. Move on to the next class. But there's no motivation. It's kind of like if you don't have that, if you don't have that feeling that you want to help others and that you want to be able to teach them so that they can retain and so that they can actually use your gems to further their education, it's not going to do anything. And us, like, as diverse population, we need to be able to be encouraging to each other, but also have people that are trying to encourage us, because there are people that come from broken homes, have never had a role model, and they go to school and they try to be better, to see you and learn from you. But if you're just there doing a job and not really interacting with the students, encouraging the students, saying you could do this, you could do better, keep going, we want you as a leader. If you use those powerful words, they're going to keep going. And honestly, I mean, someone did it to me. I mean, if someone sees me, they may say, oh my gosh, she loves school. I didn't love school, but it came to a point where I said, wow, I got so much encouragement from certain individuals that I need to keep going. So encouragement, I think, is key to motivation, to motivating all of these students. And it really doesn't matter where they're from, but particularly us that come with those adversities already, and that, the discrimination, the microaggressive attitudes, the attitude of, oh my God, I'm coming in a room and they're already judging. You need to have people to encourage. You need to.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. So Daisy, any thoughts in regards to what would you like to see improve in the healthcare industry?
I would like to end the crabs in the barrel syndrome. When I'm amongst other Latin women, especially, and there's racism within the Latin culture that is not discussed.
There is. Okay.
And that needs to be discussed, and we need to have a real discussion about it. And I would like to have a candid conversation, do some research on that related to those microaggressions within the Latin Hispanic culture. Like Dr. David said, I don't understand Latinx. The only X I recognize is Malcolm. So when they claimed not to be Latinx, I was just like, wait, I'm Daisy, I matter. Because remember, Malcolm was like, I'm infinity and nothing at the same time. So it was like, wait, do you understand what it means to say the X? So again, it comes to, why are you separating yourself in a place of segregation even further? Why not we all come collectively and have some candid conversations about what's happening in our different territories, so we collectively can make a healthcare system that is healthy for all Latinos, Black Latinos to white Latinos, Spanish speaking Latinos to English speaking Latinos. It doesn't matter, because we have certain healthcare disparities that are specified for our culture. And if we keep on with the crabs in the barrel syndrome, we're not going to get healthier. We're going to keep dying from diabetes, Alzheimer's, which is high in our culture, and depression.
Depression. Thank you. Wow. So thank you. Yes. The promo. So thank you so much for both of you for joining me this evening. So Dr. David, what's the best way for those that are watching currently live, or those that will catch the replay, or months from now? What's the best way to get in contact with you if they want to get in contact with you?
You go to Google and you Google Doctor Registered Nurse, and you're going to find every place I'm in. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube. Go to drregisterednurse.com. There you'll find me. But if you Google me, I come up. So I am so thankful for all of you that have been here, and for you inviting me to be in this program. Pass the mic. I love it. Thank you so much for all the wonderful questions.
Oh, anytime. Thank you so much. And Daisy, Professor Daisy Flower. Daisy, what's the best way to get in contact with you? And only I can call you Flower. You gave me permission on live here that I could call you, but not anybody else can call my girl Flower. Okay, I have to.
There's 8 people that call me Flower.
Go ahead.
So now there's 9. The Heal Thy Body Foundation.
What's the best way to get in contact with you?
The Heal Thy Body Foundation is my Facebook page right now that I have. We're building the website as we speak, because I want to make sure I put out a really good product that my colleagues could feel like, wow, she did a good job. I honestly want to make sure I put out a good product. And divinelyconnected.net, you could contact me there and book an appointment if you want to have a consultation or talk about some holistic alternatives, and parishnursedaisy@gmail.com.
Awesome. So thank you so much, both of you, Dr. David, Daisy Rodriguez, for joining Elizabeth Corshu on Pass the Mic series. For those of you that are watching live tonight, or those that are catching the replay, for this Women's History Month, I'm giving a special ebook. Just send me a DM. I will hit you up with the special ebook specifically for Women's History Month, or those of you that know women that would be interested in various topics that were highlighted during this month of March. And also stay tuned to the relaunch of Nurse Exec Innovations website. I was hoping that it will be launched this month, but it may possibly be launched in April of, which is next month. So thank you so much. Take care. God bless. And have a great evening, and we'll be in touch. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. David. Thank you. Thank you for finishing it. Thank you.
No problem.